Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to show you how I created this makeup look. It was a requested look from my makeup brush video, so if you'd like to see how I created this, just keep watching. Hi guys, welcome to my channel Angela Stuart Beauty. My name is Ange, where I like to share all my experiences from beauty and lifestyle as I navigate my more mature years. If that sounds like you, please consider subscribing by clicking on the subscribe button down below. Don't forget to click on the notification bell so that you are notified by YouTube with any videos that I upload. And I look forward to seeing you in future videos. For all the wonderful people who do come back week after week to watch my videos, I truly appreciate you. I thoroughly enjoy the banter and the comments that we have down below in the comment section. I'm getting to know some of you so extremely well, and this was the whole idea of starting my YouTube channel so that I could connect with other women of my age that were really into skincare and makeup as much as I, and I am really enjoying getting to know you all. So recently I uploaded a video on all of my makeup brushes, and somebody kindly asked if I would recreate the eye look that I had in that video. So I'm going to go ahead and do a full face of makeup and recreating that look. So let's get into it. So I'm fresh faced, I have my skincare done, I have sunscreen on, and I'm going to go in with my Neewer foundation. I probably should have had a headband on. So I probably spent about an hour trying to set up my filming because my daughter was home for 9 days recently on her mid-semester break, so I had to take all my filming gear down, and so it takes ages to sort out where the camera goes, to get the right background and to sort the lighting out, or to sort the white balance and things out so that I don't look too washed out or too yellow. But I think I've got the colour pretty natural at the moment. I even use the grey card to try and set the white balance properly. Now I love this foundation. I think it's beautiful for a mature skin. The only thing I have to say, it smells very paint-like. So the smell's not pleasant, but it really is beautiful on the skin. Just getting under there. I've got a lot of discoloration around my jawline, and I discussed that in another video. I think it was just my last video I posted about all the discoloration and the sunscreens I've been using. Okay, so foundation, and it really does give a really beautiful finish to the skin. It's not matte, it's not too glowy, it's just a really nice satin finish. I'm going to go in with my Sicily concealer. I really like this. It's rather pricey, but it's really mature skin friendly. Comes with a cooling tip to it, and I have mine in the shade number 2, which is quite a peach colour. Now I'm finding with my under eyes I hadn't been using an eye cream recently. I was just using an eye serum, and it just wasn't enough moisturisation for my under eyes, and my eyes were looking really crepey during the day. So I've upped it with a New Edition eye cream, and for me I just need a really nourishing eye cream. I find if I use just standard moisturisers too long, under my eyes I do get milia, little white bumps, so I just do appreciate an eye cream for myself. And I'm just blending that in with my Kat Von D concealer number 40 brush. Not sure what you can still get with the Kat Von D brand anymore, now that it's changed to just KVD. So I've blended that in with the brush, and I'm just going to quickly go in with my beauty blender and just smooth that out. And as always, I'm going in with my Hourglass diffused light powder and my little e.l.f. blush brush, and I just really lightly set that, and I like to do that immediately after applying my concealer so that it doesn't have time to crease and settle into the lines. What I was going to say is that my under eyes, the main issue that I have is them looking old and crepey. I don't have puffy eyes, but what I have been noticing lately is this area under here is quite hollow and sunken in, and sometimes can really make me look tired. So concealer has been quite important recently. Now going in with a setting powder, I'm going to go in with my Chanel setting powder in the colour 30 Natural Translucent 2. This is the old formulation. And I do put a bit of powder on my face only because I do have oily combo skin, and I use the little powder puff that comes with the powder, and I roll that and press into my skin. It's only lunchtime at the moment, and I am going out to dinner this evening with my husband on a nice date night. Quite some time now, whilst we do go out on nights out and go out for dinner, we tend to do so either with friends or the children as a family, and we haven't been out, just the two of us, for quite some time. So I'm hoping that the makeup will last till this evening. Then I take my big fluffy powder brush and I just brush downwards and remove any excess powder. So now with a smooth base, I'm going to go in with a little bit of contour. Now I've got a Tarte palette here that I have some favourite bits and pieces in here, and I am going to use the Hoola bronzer as my contour, and this is the one that I reach for on the daily for work really, this little palette with all my bits and pieces. I've got some Tarte minis in here, a MAC blush, Rockateur, and a couple of NARS blushes, but I just find this quick and easy to pick up for work. I'm really trying to be very good at the moment and not buy a lot of makeup. The only things I'm sort of replacing are my foundations, powders, concealers, those sorts of things, and anything else I'm really trying to just use up what I've got. I've got so much. I'm not going to be so harsh on myself with eyeshadow palettes because they are my weakness and they are my love, so I won't be so harsh as to put a no buy on those, although I do need to be a little bit better with how many I buy. And I have been very strong recently. But there is one coming up in the next wee while. We'll have to wait a bit longer here in New Zealand for it to be available, but I have got my eye on a palette that I will buy when it is available. So just taking that same Hoola bronzer and using an eyeshadow brush, I'm just blending that down my nose. For bronzer, I'm going to use an absolute fave of mine, the Marc Jacobs Tantastic Omega Bronze. And the brush I'm going to use for that is my Sonia G Sculpt 2 brush. Absolutely love this. I'm going to start with the forehead. I have I've got a square face, but it's a podgy face, so it has a bit of fullness, roundness to essentially a square face. So I like to contour just up in these top corners and across, give a bit of colour, and then I just bronze upwards from the contour line. Love this brush, it's so soft and blends beautifully. And I'm not going under my jawline. I've got a lot of discoloration and melasma going on at the moment, so I'm leaving it well alone. For blush, I'm going to go in with MAC's Warm Soul. And I love this for its very neutral, slight sheen. And I'm just starting at the front and blending backwards. And a highlighter that I'm going to use is an old Becca highlighter, and it's in this palette. This was called the Sun Chaser palette, and I'm going to use Opal. Taking my Anastasia A23 brush and just pop that on the high points of my cheek, Cupid's bow, tip of my nose, and might even just flick it just on the bridge there, forehead. Then just going back with just a tiny bit of setting powder, more of a white translucent powder, and just buffing that all in. Okay, now I'm going to go in with my brows. I'm using the Anastasia Brow Gel. Just going to whip that through my brows, and before we go any further I will line my lips. I'm going to go in with the KKW Nude Liner in number 1. I love these pencils. I like to tone it down with just what's left on my beauty blender. And then I'm going in with L'Oreal's Colour Riche lipstick in 900. Beautiful sheer glossy lipstick. And I love these because they're affordable and juicy on the lips. I do like to buy these when I travel, if I'm lucky enough to get to Hawaii, because I can get them from Walmart very, very affordably. I think I paid on special about $6 US for these. In New Zealand we can pay anything up to $39, so getting them while I'm away is really good. Going back to the brows, I'm going to try a new product that I've just got, and it's from Benefit, and it is the Brow Micro Filling Pen. Now I do have to say I absolutely loved this when I first got it. Now it comes with 3 sort of tiny micro felts at the tip there, and when I first got it, it was very great at giving the illusion of brow hairs. I'm finding now it just blends in just colouring in the hairs, and I'm going to show you what I mean is that the felt tips have actually like bent a little bit, and don't know if you're going to see this, it doesn't really give brow hair effect anymore. All it does is, to me, for me, is like a watercolour shading, whereas when I first got it, it definitely gave 3 distinct lines. Now I might just shake it because that feels a little bit oily. It doesn't come off though once you've done that, and I just don't feel it's consistent to what it was when I first got it. And I really don't know how much product is in this. It feels like it's empty, and I've only had it 10 days. So what I've been doing with this, I've got to stop bending down on the, is I use it to run underneath my eyebrow to give it some shape. When I first got it, this was great for flicking through and creating brow hairs. And the reason I've put the brow gel in first is to help define them as I'm colouring it in. And then when I get to the end, I just flick it down. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and do the other brow, and then we'll move on to eyes. So, brow's done. Now I'm going into the eyes, and I'm going to use the Anastasia eye primer and just pop the tiniest little bit on my eyes. Don't need much at all. That is all I use. And then I'm just using a nondescript fluffy eyeshadow brush. Now I'm going to be a bit shy on brushes today. I've got a massive makeup brush cleaning situation to do this afternoon. I quite like this eyeshadow primer because it is so pale, and it really means that the colours that I'm going to use on my eyes really stand out, and I appreciate that, especially the lighter colours. And then I just really blend the edges out, so it's the eye primer. Now the look that I did create in the video that someone wanted me to recreate, the eye look, I did use the Too Faced Hot Buttered Rum palette and used these stunning neutral shades that are in here. Because this was a limited edition and I don't think a lot of people can get it now, I'm going to try and recreate the look with the Natasha Denona Bieber palette, and I can hold it up now because I gave up the ghost trying to stop the black colour and I just tiffed it out. So I can hold this up now, but by putting the two palettes together, I'm going to use the shades that are in the Bieber palette as close to the Too Faced palette that I can to recreate that same look. There isn't the champagne-y shade that I did use, so I'm going to use the pale colour from this palette just to be true to what I did before, but there are shades in here that I can duplicate. And that is what I'm going to do today because it's a palette you can still get, and I think a lot of people have. I'm sure you'll be able to do this with any neutral eye palette that you do have. Now first off, I'm going to go in all over my eye with this Tusk colour, and I like to just set my eye primer, and then I just like to set my eye. Taking a Sephora Pro Crease Brush number 10. It's a nice soft fluffy brush. Now in the Too Faced palette I used this shade here, which is Bottoms Up, and in the Bieber palette I'm going to use Freckle. And I'm just dipping that in and just blending in the transition area. So I always start myself in the outer corner and then blend in, just to give myself that transition shading. And just blowing it out so it's nice and soft. As I mentioned to the lovely lady who requested this look, these are the types of eye looks I'm going for now. A couple of videos that I've done, like with the Huda Beauty Mauve Obsessions, was just a bit out there for me. Some of the looks I created with the Natasha Denona bronze palette were just a little bit too intense for me. I definitely prefer these more toned down but sophisticated eye looks, so these are definitely more my go-to. Then in this palette I used this brown shade Buttered Rum, and I'm going to go, now Buttered Rum did have a little bit of a sparkle in it and it's a bit warmer. The closest shade in the Bieber palette is this colour Seed, but I'm going to mix it with a little bit of this colour here, Rustic, because that's got a bit of the shimmer in there. So I'm going to mix the two together and just start at the outer corner and blend that in. And really trying to blow out the edges, softening it, and then slowly just blending in towards the middle of the eye, but just trying to keep that nice and blowing out, and concentrating on the outer portion of the eye. And really that's just it. With the Natasha Denona palette, you really don't need a lot of powder that's so pigmented. I really just dip, and that's all I need to get this sort of colour payoff. Just blending it. And that really is all I did. Now I could use this colour Monroe in the Bieber palette, but I really on that day loved this shade here, Whipped Cream, which is more of a whitish champagne shade. The Monroe is very close to the shade here, which is Warm and Fuzzy. So if I wanted to replicate that colour, Monroe in the Bieber palette would be perfect, but I am going to use that beautiful bottoms up from here because I am wanting to have a nice light look for this evening's look. And then all I'm doing is popping that. Okay, so here I was thinking it was that there, but I actually think it might have been that shade I used. So I'm going to go back in with the same brush into the Beaver palette and use Monroe, which is more of a pinky, that one there, more of a pinky shade. So we'll use the same brush and I'll pop that over the top of what I've just done. Either way, you could choose any light shade you want to pop on the inner corner here. Then I always like to go back in with my first transition shade. So I'm going back in with Freckle, and then I always just like to finish off the blend so that everything is smooth, no harsh edges, and blended. I'm going to take a little B flat shader brush, an E20 from Sigma, and take that rustic shade and run that under my eye. And I'm going to run that all the way along. And then just flick it up at the edge here. Now by doing that, I've followed the lower lash line, and you can see that I've got a little bit of a gap there, which we will join up. And that all has to do with my downturned hooded eyes. So I'll run that along and then follow the shape of my lash line. Now I have actually joined it up properly there. So on that side I got it right and took it out far enough, but I don't know if you can see there is a wee discrepancy just in here, and by doing your liner and just flicking it out and following your lash line, you get more of that even slope because you've done the same thing on both eyes. And I'll just blend that from that little flick there in. And then I just keep blending. Now I have made this a little bit more rich than the shades I was wearing in my makeup brush video, but that's because I'm going out this evening. It's exactly the same shades, tones of shades. I've just intensified it a little bit more because I am going out this evening and I just want a little bit more impact. Eyelashes. Now I do have my eyelash extensions in, but I have got a couple missing, and I didn't want to redo my eyelash extensions before filming today because I've picked up a glue that's a little bit harsh on my eyes and I end up with very bloodshot red eyes for a couple of days after, and I really do need to find myself some sensitive eye glue. So I am going to just use exactly the same lashes that I use for my extensions, but I'm going to use them with duo glue today just to fill in those gaps and for this evening. Before I go in with the lashes, I'm just going to quickly line my waterline in the top with my Smashbox Always On Gel Liner in Fishnet. I really don't like eyelining pencils that you have to sharpen. I absolutely have decided I detest them. So I'm going to be on the lookout for pencils that are mechanical. I just do not like these sharpened pencils because they're just not very nice when you sharpen them. They have sharp edges on them and they get jaggedy, and I just don't like them at all. So that's the eyeliner. I'm going to quickly pop some MAC Glitter Black mascara on what I've already got. In my bottom. Now when I do my eyelash extensions, I just use flares like this, and I use the lash extension glue etc. for doing them. So I am just going to use my duo glue. So I'm just going to put a wee blob of glue on my tray there. Then I take little tweezers and I just take the flare, dip it into the glue and just pop it in the gap on an existing lash, and it will dry. So I'll carry on doing that and then we'll be finished. Okay, so I only had to put a couple of lashes in there to fill the gaps, and that is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. As I said, it's more the type of look that I'm going for lately. I did just intensify it up a little bit today, as I said, because I'm going out for dinner, and I would love to have your feedback down below if that is something you enjoyed watching. Please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, I would truly appreciate it. Don't forget to click the subscribe button down below. Don't forget to click on the notification bell so that you are notified when I upload any videos. And I hope you've all had a beautiful and a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you next time. See you later, guys. Bye.